Greetings. Welcome back. If you somehow know of the old podcast, but welcome to the Blitz podcast is what we're calling it as of now. Could change in the future, but yeah. My name's Alberto Murillo, and I'm with.
Jackson Dietrich.
And yeah, so we're just continuing on of what we were trying to do as just a few guys in high school trying something out. But now, since we know a little bit more information, we're just trying to keep going with our dreams and do that. So, Jackson, do you want to explain to them what we're going to be doing on this podcast and just what we're going to be talking about and what they're expecting?
So for the first few episodes, bear with us. We're trying new things. We're still getting new equipment. So it should get better as time progresses. We're going to be talking about a lot of sports. If you remember our first podcast, it was just mainly sports. We'll still keep sports, but also kind of just talk about our life.
Give you guys an insight of what's going on behind the scenes, some funny stories. I got some funny things to tell you. I know y'all would enjoy it, but yeah. Expect the recent news of the hottest takes of anything going on in sports of football, all the way from football, basketball, F1, baseball, soccer, and all that. So yeah.
Anything. So
yeah. Well, we'll make sure you guys are tuned in. We'll make sure you guys have a good time with us. So now going on to us, Jackson, you want to tell them a little bit about yourself and what you do and what you're aiming for in life?
Yeah. So I'm currently a Ball State freshman. I was a sports reporting major, a media major with a concentration in sports reporting. I just changed it to I'm now a sports administration major. My dream's to be a head coach of either a baseball team or a soccer team. If not, be a GM or an executive or a front office member. Just something in sports, something that makes me money, doing something I love. So.
Yeah, that's nice. That's always good to hear. For me, right now I'm a freshman IUPY for now IUI for sports journalism and communications. What I really want to do is be on ESPN and just do my own thing on there. And just always being involved in some type of media or in sports and all that. But I also want to incorporate to do some other things like get involved in music, television, business, and all this. And then I also want to help people. So my main thing is just being involved in sports because that's the one thing I love. Also, I kind of want to do what you do. You said you do be a coach. That's what I always wanted to be a coach, and I really want to be one soon. So hopefully I can live forward to be that. But yeah, and also just look forward to help people out.
Yeah.
So, all right. So going on to sports now. The thing I really want to talk about is the game last night. Well, that had happened yesterday was the Bills and the Cowboys game. So Jackson, what did that game tell you, and what did you see about that game that was good and bad?
It told me a lot about what both teams we saw, especially a Bills team that was really underestimated. I feel like going into that game. Obviously, they've had a very off year, and the Cowboys, who've had a great year, who just come off a huge win last week against Philly, and then you come to Buffalo, and it just looks horrible. I think that Dallas is still a team that can go to the Super Bowl. Dallas is still one of the best teams in the NFC right now. Yes, they still have the 49ers, the Eagles. I mean, honestly, the NFC, I feel like there's only three main teams: the Cowboys, Niners, and Eagles.
Looking at that, I can always see if for example the 49ers are going on a crazy run. They're going put through all the birds right now. They're going on the last one, the Ravens they got. They could I could see them winning that big game, but then out of nowhere losing in the first round, and say the Cowboys play someone else, and then we don't have to worry about them, and then the Cowboys keep going up, and then they make it to the Super Bowl. So
that's the thing with the playoffs, especially NFL playoffs. I feel like you cannot predict anything. I think not just NFL, but any sports playoffs, it's hard to predict what could happen.
Yeah.
Any team could make it. What was that one year? I'm trying to think. I don't know if anyone saw the Rams in the Super Bowl.
Oh yeah. Well, against the Patriots.
Rams Patriots.
The Super Bowl 53. Yeah.
Rams Bengals too.
That was a crazy. Those were weird.
Anything can happen.
I know, yeah. The main thing is, hopefully the Cowboys don't. I like to see this for them as an opportunity to open their eyes and say like, this is what that's wrong with our team right now against a good opponent. Because the Bills are a good opponent. They beat the Chiefs a few weeks ago, and they beat the Dolphins at the very beginning of the season when they were very good, like 40-28. And now they just beat a very good Cowboys team.
Yeah.
And their schedule, I forget who they play going on, but they're going on for a loss against a good team. So I think that's a wake up call, but I see that's a good thing. So they can open their eyes and be like, okay, here's what we need to do to win.
Yeah.
And Dak Prescott, this is a weird game for QBs. This game, Dak Prescott 21 for 34, 134 yards with 1 interception, and then but Josh Allen didn't have a crazy stat line either.
Like 7.
He went 7 for 15, 94 yards.
Yeah.
And it was mostly James Cook who carried. So he had a really good game. 2 touchdowns, 179 yards, 25 rushing attempts.
Yeah, it was. I mean, James Cook has had a really off year. As a guy who has him in fantasy, he has had a very on and off year. This was a career game for him. Obviously, he had the receiving touchdown and the rushing touchdown. But I mean, he looked like the greatest, like one of the best running backs in the league. Like yards after contact, he was going. I mean, he'd get touched and he'd still chug 5 yards along. I mean, there was 2 plays where he's completely wrapped up, and they're still pushing the pile, and they got the first down. I mean,
yeah. The one thing, like speaking of like James Cook being a good running back, that kind of makes me like for the Cowboys, Tony Pollard as a running back. I'd say he's a little bit above average running back, but he's not a wow. He's not up there with James Cook and all of the other good running backs. So that kind of worries me for them. So they don't have someone to rely on when the passes to Brandon Cooks or CeeDee Lamb aren't working for Dak Prescott. He doesn't have someone to rely on. So
I don't want to say the weather, but I know it was cold. I mean, you're playing in Buffalo in the middle of December.
Yeah, and the Cowboys are normally used to hot Texas weather.
Yeah, that rain too. I think it was hard. I mean, Dalton Kincaid had a few drops that he should have caught. And I think the weather is partially to blame. And that's the one thing. I feel like that's why the NFL doesn't like having the Super Bowls in like anywhere near the Midwest. Because at that time of year, how cold it gets. They just SoFi Stadium's getting the Super Bowl again in like 2028. They just had it like 3 years ago.
I really wish Indianapolis would get it again so bad.
Indianapolis,
I feel like we can get it soon.
Yeah, I mean, we have Lucas Oil's. It can be closed if the NFL.
I think their contract ends soon. I think I heard that.
Huh. I don't know.
But so another thing like going on to like later on in the NFL season. So for the MVP race, I was thinking, does this game affect Dak Prescott's MVP candidate race?
I'd say so. And the MVP in the NFL is such a quarterback award. Mahomes has won it God knows how many times when he shouldn't have won it.
Like right now, I can think of there's a few defensive players that I think that can win it too. But like for right now, I'm thinking of Tyreek Hill that can win it.
Yeah.
And of course the good QB options. Lamar Jackson's a good option. Dak, of course. Jalen Hurts and Mahomes. But like I said, some defensive players. I think Myles Garrett could definitely win the MVP award.
Micah Parsons too. I definitely feel like
T.J. Watt for sure.
Yeah.
Good candidate for before C.J. Stroud got hurt. I was thinking that he could have definitely won the MVP race. He was doing really good.
I think C.J. Stroud, he's my rookie of the year.
Oh, for sure. And even if with injury, he's still doing really. He's still gonna have the race.
As a Colts fan, it hurts to say that C.J. Stroud, because I also would love to see what Anthony Richardson could have done his rookie year.
Every time I remember he got injured, the game I had to bet on him on underdog.
Mm-hmm. No, it was I was there week 1 against the Jaguars when the Colts played, and I remember I saw him go down, and I was like, if we get cursed again with another quarterback, I don't like we should. I mean, we might as well just sell the team. And
I know, yeah. From going from losing Peyton Manning to losing Luck to struggling between from good QBs to now being old, wasted, going around the league.
Yeah.
Carson Wentz, Phillip Rivers, and all them. But my thing in the MVP race, I don't understand how people are saying Brock Purdy is the leader in the MVP. Because he is not, he's a system QB and he's just scoring because the system he has around him. He has Christian McCaffrey, he has Deebo Samuel, and then he has Brandon Ayuk, and all those players. And it's such a great alignment with Trent Williams leading the bunch.
Brock Purdy has done great things. We cannot take that away from him. And I know Mikey Garrison, if he's watching this, he's going to say the same thing you said, that Brock Purdy is a system QB. Tabani does not. Tabani Matungabera, if you're watching this too, he says that he's not. And that's the one thing me and Tabani agree on. I don't, as much as he has the weapons around him, like McCaffrey, Ayuk, Debo, and like I feel like one of the greatest O-lines right now in the NFL. It's easy to succeed in that position, but you still got to go out and
you're getting surrounded by pure talent with McCaffrey, who wasn't even struggling with a bad Panthers team after all his support left him with Cam Newton, Greg Olsen, and that great team that was around when he was there. Debo being great as a runner and a receiver. Brandon Ayuk, and of course, like you said, the O line. Anyone you could put anyone back there. Like I said, like a teacher told me one time that Colin Kaepernick was only good because of his two receivers that he had at the time. I forgot who they were, but he was like after they left, Colin he wasn't average. He was not good. That's why people really don't want to pick him up because he's not that good. But I will say Brock Purdy is decent. He's not bad.
No.
But he's getting overhyped as an MVP player because of the stats, because he's a few of the people around him.
And that's the one thing I hate about the MVP race is that I feel like a few of the years at Mahomes. Now, don't get me wrong, some of Mahomes MVPs were well deserved. That guy, the past few years, has played like one of the greatest quarterbacks we've seen in a long time. But like, you look at this quarterback, it's like, oh, he has 1,000 yards. Oh, he has 24 touchdown passes. But I'm like, if you go back and look at some of his throws, it's like he's just like some of the receivers are making those plays for him. And Brock Purdy, he's a great player. I don't want to say he's a system QB, but I mean Jimmy Garoppolo didn't really succeed in that position. I mean, he only made Jimmy G look good was the fact that he had a great O-line and some great receivers. But I mean, Jimmy G, you could throw Jimmy G on the Colts right now. Like what Minshew's doing for the Colts, you could throw Jimmy G up there and we would not be where we are. It's weird though. It's such a quarterback award that
I know there's so many underdogs in the NFL that could be going for NFL MVP. Like I said, Tyreek, Myles Garrett, a bunch of other players that I'm forgetting that I can't remember. But going into another thing, the NFL playoffs. Right now, the NFL picture for the playoffs is for the AFC, the Baltimore Ravens are in first place, and then NFC, the Niners are in first place. Now, I'm looking at this. I could see a 49ers and Baltimore Ravens rematch. Super Bowl. What Super Bowl was that? 46, 45?
It was 45. It was Ray Lewis was still around.
Yeah, it was.
It was a while ago because it was the Battle of Harbaugh's.
Yes, and it was the Blackout Bowl. Yeah.
Yeah. I could honestly see it.
And honestly, the NFL is getting so weird with underdog teams being in the playoffs now. Like, for example, I've been wanting these teams to be in the playoffs for a minute. For example, the Lions, Detroit Lions being 10-4, third in the NFC, and the Jaguars 8-6, fourth in AFC, and the Browns surprisingly doing pretty well, 9-5. Bengals 8-6. I could see some teams coming up and having a great playoff run. Like I could see Bengals doing another potential Super Bowl run with Jake Browning.
Jake Browning is a really good quarterback. I don't think people realize that.
It's crazy. Like for example, they're forgot the Ravens QB who won the Super Bowl in 2000 with Ray Lewis. Trent Dilfer. He was a backup QB and he was pretty good. And he came in and he led them to the he not led them, but he was a good QB to keep them going to go to the Super Bowl. So Jake Browning could definitely do that, and same for Nick Foles. Nick Foles did that with the 2018 Eagles.
And they won too.
And they won, yeah.
It's weird this year with how many quarterbacks have gotten injured. I mean, the Vikings are sitting in sixth place.
Literally,
and Nick Mullins is the quarterback.
Yeah, literally, Aaron Rodgers getting hurt the very first game of his return.
Yeah, it's so weird because I mean, like, obviously, if you look at the top three in the AFC, Lamar, Tua, and Patrick Mahomes, Jacksonville is a little questionable because I know Lawrence is being evaluated for a concussion right now. I mean, the Browns, was it Joe Flacco at quarterback for the Browns?
Yeah, he had a really good pass from Amari Cooper for a dot.
Yeah.
For a touchdown.
And I mean, Jake Browning and Gardner Minshew.
Gardner, I could see like the Colts. They're in 7th right now, 7-5, but I could definitely see them having a decent playoff run. I don't think they could make it. I mean, anything could happen. Like you said, anything in the playoffs could happen. It's the NFL playoffs.
I'd say we get, as a Colts fan, realistic, if we make the playoffs, it would be a divisional game. We'd make it to the divisional round. We'd probably play the Dolphins, and with how the Dolphins have looked sometimes this year, Jonathan Taylor stays healthy. That team could be I don't see us going anywhere near the Super Bowl, but I think the ceiling is the AFC Championship, and the floor is missing the playoffs.
Yeah.
So there's a.
The one team I really want, of course, is my Cowboys. Realistically, we can make it, but we just have to fix the patches that the Cowboys have. We just have to. I didn't get to see much of the game because I was with some family stuff, but from previous games, I was seeing really well the games from all the way from the very beginning of the season, and of course dominating the very good Eagles team. You're like, okay, this is a very good season for us. We're ready to go to the Super Bowl. Great playoff run, no one's stopping us. But I see this game, like I said very earlier, like an eye opener. I'd like to see I wouldn't mind seeing the Browns, like I said, make a deep playoff run.
The Browns especially. I think that's a team that is going really under the radar this year. Sitting at 9-5. Better than the Bengals, Colts, all these other teams. They're higher than the Bills right now.
Yeah, right now. Okay, so in the hunt, Lions, Buccaneers, and Vikings and Rams for NFC, and AFC, Dolphins, Chiefs, Jaguars, Browns, and Bengals.
I think the Lions are fine. The Lions are going to wrap up. They'll win the North soon. If not, by next week.
Yeah,
they should win it. So the Lions are. I think the Lions are locked. Unless
I'd love to see the Lions be an underdog. They've been great from the beginning of the season from this point on. They've had some bad games for the Ravens. They had a very bad game. Well, beginning of the game against the Packers. It was a Thanksgiving game, but they ended up coming back. But they didn't come back and win. But they came close. So I think they were down by 3. But they're a very good team. The Jaguars are another good team that I can see making a good playoff run because they made it last year as well. Buccaneers, I like that Baker's on a decent team and he's playing pretty well. Yeah. I'm a decent fan of Baker. I wouldn't say I don't dislike him. And the Vikings, it's hit or miss since Kirk Cousins isn't there. I'm saying that for the Patriots to have an actual chance, they trade for Bryce Young. Bryce Young goes to the Patriots. Mac Jones goes to the Browns, and then whatever they want to trade to get those players to even it out and all that. That's what I really think that can happen.
Bryce Young has been put up.
He's been put in a bad situation. I will give him that.
The guy's time in the pocket is like a second and a half because his O-line is that bad. He's throwing dimes to Adam Thielen, who is. As much as I miss that old Adam Thielen on the Vikings,
he's a below average.
Not the same anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like Bryce Young. He's a great quarterback at Alabama. I remember watching him at Alabama. He is a great quarterback.
That was a very good season. Yeah.
Yeah. He did great things with that team, but at the end of the day, nobody's gonna want to take him because you look at his stat lines now and it's like sack, interception. He needs weapons.
Yeah.
And I think Carolina messed up hiring Frank Reich. As much as
he needs to get out of there, the Chargers fired Brandon Staley.
Frank Reich needs to just not.
He already messed up the Colts. He shouldn't mess up another team.
Nowhere near an NFL.
He's a terrorist, bro. Get him out of here.
Nowhere near an NFL.
Send him to China.
I'll send him to the XFL for all I care.
Yes, bro. Let the Rock get him.
Brandon Staley and.
So did you see the NFL suspending the Steelers player for the Michael Pittman hit? They're suspended for the rest of the season.
It's not a shocker because he has been fined 5 times this year.
Is he actually?
I just saw it on Instagram. I don't know why my Mac keeps sleeping, but it does.
I think it's an option. Okay, so yeah, this is the first episode, guys. So yeah,
That's
well,
why
we'll get more into it. I know I was gonna say it after, but it's because the MacBook. You have to set the setting to not fall asleep. That's what we had to do for this one.
That's what I did with that, but I don't know.
Don't
That's
worry,
why I keep getting up to.
Don't worry, we'll actually have a video camera soon. So this episode is it's the pilot episode. Don't worry, it'll be better. You just work with this guy.
Or even
We're talking about the
Steelers play.
Yeah.
Yeah, I want to go to Instagram and find it because it was like 5 weeks, and then he would get fined for every unnecessary roughness call he had, and he had 2 in one game.
Dang.
And the pass from Pittman, it was very much a hospital pass if you look at it. He had to really lay out for it, and I think what screwed him was the leading with his helmet. Is what got him. If he had just kind of went down like a normal tackle.
This picture right here of his hit looks literally brutal.
It was bad. I thought Pittman would have been out for the year with that hit. I mean, it was bad. Mm-hmm. But it's really one of those things where it's just it's weird to think. I mean, Tom Brady. Actually, I'm just reading this.
Yeah,
this
I remember. I heard he commented about it.
John Boy Media just posted it talking about like I said, that was a hospital pass. QB should not be throwing that ball in areas where they're exposing their own teammates to that type of hit. And as much as I love Minshew, that was a horrible pass, and it just obviously that's a dirty hit, not what you want to see, but that pass really screwed Pittman. And I if I was Pittman, I want to be happy with Gardner after that.
Mm-hmm.
But I can't. I know he's been fined a ton of times for his unnecessary roughness calls. He's a good linebacker, but he's
Devontae.
I think.
I mean, that kind of that just reminds me of like the DeMar Hamlin situation and how crazy that situation was.
Yeah, and like the DeMar Hamlin situation, because I remember I was with you. We were together for that.
Oh, yeah.
We were driving around, and my dad had texted me. He was like, "Are you watching the game?" I'm like, "No, we're driving around." And then he's like, I remember he said something about someone collapsed. And I go to Twitter, and I think the craziest thing to me is that how much news spreads. And like, if something crazy happens, you go to Twitter, everybody's talking about it.
That's the thing with media. Like, there's always something that comes out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. No matter if it's sports or something else, there's always one thing that just happens out of nowhere, and it gets the attention for the entire week or 2 weeks, and then no one remembers it.
The thing is, like, it's not even just sports fans who get it. Like, there's it'll get picked up by news stations and social TMZ and stuff will pick it up. They don't talk about sports, and I have a personal hatred of TMZ. By the way, they suck at their job.
I don't even know if half the stuff is true when I read their stuff.
Their headlines that they do, it's. You know how they tell you never trust anything you see? TMZ is that exact example.
Oh yeah.
They suck at their job.
For sure.
What can I say? I'm just a college freshman.
Now, okay, kind of going on this conversation, how do you feel that if DeMar Hamlin wins Comeback Player of the Year? Do you think that that's deserving? Because I personally don't think that's the deserving. Because he never played. He's not a good player.
Not
in my opinion.
Not at all. And I think if that hit would not have been talked about if the circumstances didn't happen. If he did not go into cardiac arrest, if he did not almost have to literally die. That hit would have been, oh, look at this big hit. He goes down. You'll end up seeing it on an NFL hardest hits compilation 4 years down the road. That's the only time.
I remember seeing people hearing a theory that he actually died and this is a clone of him.
That theory.
So funny.
It's funny. He's clearly alive. He is. But I mean, I could see where some conspiracy people are like, this is awkward. Why is he wearing sunglasses inside?
That's what I was saying.
I never understand why you wear.
No, that's what I was saying. I was like, why is he acting shady inside? Why does he have all that stuff?
There's probably some medical reasoning behind it that we don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not just gonna jump to conclusions, but. It is weird, but that would have not gotten as much media attention as it did if he. And I don't think he should win Comeback Player of the Year.
Yeah.
I feel like to be a Comeback Player of the Year, you have to put up some like Alex Smith.
Now that was a comeback player.
That's a true Comeback Player of the Year right there. I mean, dude almost lost his leg.
Yeah.
And he still played. I think he played every game. I mean, maybe missed a few. DeMar.
He's not Josh. I mean, not Josh. Alex Smith wasn't a bad quarterback.
No, and that's the thing is like I don't know. I don't think I wouldn't even know who's a contender for Comeback Player of the Year. I mean, Joe Flacco maybe. I mean, I don't know. I couldn't even tell you. There's probably someone huge that we were totally forgetting about. But
yeah. I don't even know. The NFL is. There's so much crazy stuff about the NFL this year.
Who do you think's your obviously offensive like rookie of the year? Obviously would be
C.J. Stroud. That's who I definitely.
Who do you think defensive would be?
Jalen Carter. I heard he's been doing pretty well. Willie Anderson. I heard he's been doing pretty good. I haven't seen much of him, but I heard he's been doing pretty well. Yeah. Other than that, I'd probably say Jalen Carter for defensive rookie of the year.
I'd say so too. I mean, it's not a lot of defensive rookies have made a big standout to me. Now saying that, there's probably one that I have no idea. I'm honestly gonna look this up now because I feel like there's one huge one that we're missing.
Yeah.
Because I mean, now thinking about it, all the defensive players we talked about for MVP, I feel like, yeah, right now I think
Devin Witherspoon's also another good pick.
Jalen Carter's the favorite.
Yeah.
Right now. I forgot Puka Nacua.
Oh yeah.
I think C.J. Stroud is kind of guaranteed offensive rookie of the year at this point.
Bro, I put a game for Puka Nacua. I didn't think he was gonna have a crazy stat line game. It was like bet him under 79 yards. And this is the only one I needed left to win. This man scored or put up 169 receiving yards. I was like,
it's insane. I like, no one had him in my leagues. Like, no one picked him up. He was still sitting on the agent. Like, he was still sitting on the waivers when he had that game. And then I swear to God, like right after that game, he was like claimed. I was first in waiver priority, so I got him. But I don't know.
What do you think about the Super Bowls and them being like, how do I say this? They're staged and like it's meant to be two teams. Because I seen this thing is like the colors of the color of the Super Bowl label, the colors of the two teams that play in the Super Bowl. People are thinking that it's gonna be Ravens and Niners because of the color.
I wouldn't say it's staged. It's a money grab from the NFL, especially from Goodell. As a person who watches MLB, if you know the World Series this year, the Rangers and the Diamondbacks, everyone hated it because it's not your big market teams. It's not the Dodgers. It's not the Astros. Not the Yankees. Like, it's none of your big market teams. The NFL, I feel like, has benefited that, being a lot of the teams in the past few Super Bowls have been big market teams, like LA, like the Rams being in it. But like, it's all about the TV ratings, and I know for MLB the TV ratings were down a crap ton because no one. If you're a casual baseball fan, like you don't know much about the sport, you don't want to watch the Rangers and the Diamondbacks playing the World Series. If you're a casual, no one wants to watch that. But like, for the real fans like me, I loved it. It is honestly one of the best series I've ever watched. But I think the NFL is trying to do it more for publicity, trying to get all those like TikTok models.
No, to me, like you said, now you wouldn't want to see those random teams, but to me, I like it. I like to see those random teams that were bad for 6-7 years in a row come up out of nowhere and be good, and then come up to all the way to be a Super Bowl team.
I would be so fine with a Browns-Vikings Super Bowl this year.
I would be down with like a Lions Super Bowl game.
Exactly. Like any of those, like I love watching the small teams make it big. But the NFL doesn't like it because
it doesn't make them any money.
Doesn't make them any money.
That's just how it rolls. That's just how it's gonna be.
Yeah.
But I could definitely see the media enjoying the Lions the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I don't know. Baseball's also a lot different too because it's not as big. I mean, it's big obviously, but I don't. It doesn't get the same attention as like football does per se. But it is definitely. I mean, it's all about the TV ratings and the TV deals, and that's why all these like streaming, so like why Amazon Prime is coming into Thursday Night Football. And I took a class about it this year, my sports media class. Our professor is so cool. Shout out Mackenzie Wegner, goat. We talked about like the TV deals and TV ratings, and it's crazy to see how much like why all the conference realignment stuff is happening. It's all about money now. So
I know, and also like the things with like YouTube TV, like the thing with NFL, that stuff like that was like $400, and that's just another way to do that.
And what I don't like about that is it's only out of market games. So let's say you live in Indy, for example. You're a Colts fan. If the game's on Fox or CBS, like it always is, you can't watch it with your Sunday ticket package. Because that's what, I think YouTube TV's on Sunday ticket now. And so you only get every out-of-market game. I hate blackouts. Blackouts are the stupidest thing ever. It happens, like, I cannot stand blackouts. But that's basically what it is. And it sucks to see.
Yeah, like recently now in, like this media and sports is like how much it's going towards this like what they're making it, what people want to see instead of just letting it be what it is.
Yeah.
And like and not even just in sports now, and just media and how much has changed.
Yeah.
And all that like now, just with that and like anything has just changed now from taunting in the NFL. Like I wish that was a thing so much. Like and another thing is like the roughing the passer.
Yeah.
Rules like that's stupid. I really think that. I mean, okay, no, it's there. It should be a thing if like you're straight up beating the dude's ass, but
they changed the rule to protect the quarterbacks, but I don't think what they realize is that like some of them have been very questionable, and for some of these 6'6", 200-pound guys to just stop on a dime and not hit the quarterback or run into him
can mess their body up.
Like and especially on turf too, you're asking for them to tear their ACL with the non-contact knee injuries. The rule definitely needs to be looked at again. And I think another one is like targeting too. Especially in college especially, that targeting rule needs to be reviewed because there's some like there was a play this year that's just the guy jumped and literally led with his helmet, and like that's like the prime example of targeting, but like you lower your shoulder and you hit helmet to helmet. It's weird.
There is a suspicion of like favoriting with referees and all that shit, and just like the reviewing, because like I said, some of the reviewing calls. And so have you ever seen the clip of Jerome Bettis calling tails, and then the referee says heads right after he says tails, and he's like, bro, I just called tails.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what?
I think refs need to be punished for.
I say refs should get fine or they get pay deduction for every messed up call in every game.
I think the biggest thing we go back to is the Chiefs Jets game earlier this year.
Oh yeah.
Oh my god. Like the textbook holding, and that wasn't called, but on the Chiefs, it wasn't called on the Chiefs. But then you go down 3 plays later, the Jets get called for a small grab, and like even I forget what game. I think it was the Lions game. Their right tackle just false start every play.
Oh yeah.
Like as an NFL ref, how do you not see that? It's
like I'm just not a big fan of refs in general. Like going back to our high school, and so our high school went to the state championship this year. Even from at that point on, even from when I played, I would see like referees only getting these things and these calls from us and us and us and all these things. When I'm like, you're in the game and you're in the moment, you're seeing these things happen to your team, and the other team do it, and you're like, there's nothing you can do about it, and like it's crazy. Just because you're a specific player or you're on a specific team, like there's got to be something done about the refs. I do agree.
And I think I'm allowed to say this now that I'm graduated. Decatur Central Mooresville, my senior year. So you were there too.
Yes, oh my bro.
That was the. I'm not gonna talk bad. IHSA has some great refs. A lot of the refs, obviously, they're volunteers. They do great things. But that was the worst officiated high school game I've ever seen in my entire life.
I remember a specific play. The QB. I remember Mooresville had a really good QB. He's rolling out. I'm going to get him. I'm angled to get a sack on him. And then the lineman full on blocks me in the back, pushes me, and then gets to where the QB can cut in. And then he gets like 10 yards for a first down. The ref's right here, and he sees it, and he doesn't get it. And I'm like so many stupid calls like this, what gets me so mad.
I remember commentating that game, and as the game got close, like near the end,
it's so sad to see like those games you really want to win when you don't win.
Yeah.
Like, ugh.
And like looking back at it too, there's a few like I think it was Cameron Rennick. Like it was roughing. I think they called it roughing the kicker.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah.
should have just been running into the kicker, and it would have been 5 yards, and you just replay the down. But instead, the 5 yards replay the down, 15, and an automatic first. It kills you. And I know near the end of the game too, I don't think they had any timeouts left, and they called a timeout. And where I was at in the press box was right, so it's like leveled. So like here I am, and then down below is PA announcer, scoreboard operator, and everything. And I just learned that this year too, that the scoreboard operator and PA announcer can walkie-talkie to the refs.
Really?
Yeah, I learned that too. I thought that was the coolest thing ever.
Dang.
And they radioed in like they have no timeouts, and you couldn't hear what the ref said. But he tried to explain it, but you couldn't understand him. And they just went ahead with a timeout, and they're like, that's their last timeout. Like they don't have any timeouts. They can't physically call a timeout. So I don't know what the high school ruling is for calling a timeout when you don't have one. I think it's a 15-yard penalty and then loss of down. I don't know. I'm not a rules expert.
All I know is I was mad.
Yeah.
But watching high school, like going off from transitioning from high school to college is crazy. Like personally playing with great players, like from my freshman to senior year, especially my junior and senior year, I played with a great class my junior year.
Yeah.
And my senior year, and like for example, my friend Asen, great QB and linebacker, Virginia Tech linebacker commit. He's already there. He's a freshman. Like it's how crazy that how they develop, and like after just 1 year, you become 30 pounds of more of your straight muscle and all that.
And I think that's why you don't really see you see all these big name recruits committing Cathedral High School. What's his name? Danny O'Neill. I think didn't he just decommit from Colorado?
I don't know. I haven't seen anything.
Yeah, I think he decommitted from somewhere, but you're not going to hear these guys till at least 2 or 3 years in, because the difference between your freshman year of college to guys who are in their 4th, 5th year,
it's so crazy.
Difference is insane.
And especially even then from college to NFL, you're playing with grown men.
Mm-hmm. I think the biggest one, Javon Tracy.
Oh yeah.
Dog. I think, if I'm not mistaken,
he could definitely go somewhere else that's better than Miami where he is right now.
He could. I could honestly, he could fit right in.
Exactly like his brother, Tyrone. Tyrone went from Iowa. And before he transferred, he had some good seasons from Iowa. But then they weren't utilizing him.
I know Javon had a great year this year.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think he terrorized Ball State.
I'm not surprised. I know Ball State didn't do that well this year.
Oh, no, we did not. If I look at I think he was one of the leading receivers.
Oh, dang.
He was 3rd in receiving.
How many did he have?
22 receptions for 348 yards and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
But,
But yeah, like I said, his brother, Tyrone, wasn't going to utilize enough at Iowa, so he was like, I'm going to go where I'm going to get utilized. Goes to Purdue. As an not even that, barely used first year there, but this year, he broke a couple records there, and he had a great season, and now declined for draft. Mm-hmm. I see him as a potential 3rd, 4th round pick.
He's definitely a middle rounder. But I mean, there's a bunch of middle rounders who turn into some insane players. I think Tyrone has the capability to be an insane NFL player, a solid NFL player.
Oh yeah, for sure.
It's weird though.
Now, who do you love for like the college race? Who do you think are like your best odds to be the first pick overall?
It's weird. I don't see Caleb Williams going first overall anymore.
Just because those big losses in the season.
Granted, the team he had was horrid.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, Jordan Addison left. He still looked like a not ready quarterback. Obviously, he's a Heisman Trophy winner, but like, what other Heisman, like Robert Griffin won a Heisman. Look where he is now. Baker won a Heisman. I mean, obviously, he's doing good things now. I think just because you win the Heisman Trophy doesn't make you a great NFL quarterback.
Yeah.
And with Caleb Williams, I think, as much as I hate to say this, I cannot see Drake May going first overall. But I think Drake May is the most NFL ready quarterback I've seen out of this draft class. And honestly, I think I'd honestly throw JJ McCarthy over Caleb Williams right now.
That's a good one. I can see JJ McCarthy going higher than Caleb Williams.
I don't know. It was a rough year for USC.
I'm excited for the college playoffs. That's one thing I'm excited for. I hope Texas wins the whole thing. In my opinion,
I want to see Texas do good. As an IU guy, I want to see Michael Penix succeed.
Oh yeah,
So I'd love to see Washington win it, but I don't. It's gonna be fun. I mean,
the last time Michigan won against Alabama was, I think, when it was Brady's last game as a Wolverine. I'm pretty sure
it was a while.
It was 2000. Yeah, I remember. I was seeing something about that.
The thing is with Alabama, they've been here before.
Yeah, it's like they're always there, but it's also they've been knocked out of it before.
I mean, that's a team who got embarrassed at home by Texas, picked it up, had a few close games, probably should have lost to Auburn, but Jalen Milroe with that. I do you remember that play, the 4th and 31?
Mm-hmm, yep.
What in the hell is Auburn doing? I don't think people realize this as much as I'm not huge in-depth knowledge of football, but I know it pretty well. Just rush 4, rush 5.
Yeah, and then put everyone back.
Literally keep
no, send 3, keep everyone back.
But here's the thing: if you rush 4 or 5, you get that pressure on the QB with the chance to sack him, and you won't have a broken coverage like that. To me, it just doesn't make sense. The whole rush, with how close they were, wasn't it a 4th and goal? 4th and goal from the 31.
Yeah.
Just rush 4 or 5.
All he's got to do, if they can contain him, they got the 4th guy right here, and then the middle guys are gonna get tired, so the D tags are gonna break through. He's gonna turn around and then boom.
If you look back at every play, what play where they rushed 4 or 5 went for 31 yards? Very few to maybe 3 or 4 plays that could have gone 31 yards. Your odds are in your favor. Everyone stays on their guy. If you're playing, especially if it's a zone, it's so easy to contain, but I don't.
Yeah, it's weird. But I'm really excited for next year's college playoffs.
The 12.
The 12 team league. That just opens up the door for more opportunities for more teams and a better chance and more variety of who's gonna actually win the playoffs. And I like to see if you lose at the last game and that bumps you down, but you're still in the playoffs. I'd love to see that team that bounces up and that's in very last place in the playoffs and bounce up, go straight back to the championship game.
The only thing is, we had all this argument this year about who should have been the 4 seed, Florida State, Bama, or.
I think.
But we're gonna have the same argument next year. Who should be number 12?
Yeah.
Who's gonna be 13?
It's gonna be hard to be who should be. It's gonna be a harder picture who should be 12.
Because you're gonna get. I think this year especially, you're gonna have a lot of 2-loss teams.
There's gonna be a lot of really shitty teams that are undefeated.
I mean, let me look at it right now. I think.
But when
Notre
TCU
Dame is in the 12. Yeah.
Notre Dame could definitely be.
Right now, it stops at OU. OU would be the 12th.
Notre Dame was in the college playoffs our sophomore year, wasn't they?
They were there 2020.
So our sophomore year.
We probably shouldn't have been because it was a COVID year. And
Oh yeah.
we had to Notre Dame had to join the ACC because they were only allowing conference games. We beat Clemson, go to the ACC championship, lose to Clemson, and then we go play Alabama in the playoffs.
And y'all lose.
Get our ass.
And then Ohio State beat the absolute hell out of Clemson, right? And then
I
that it
think
was the
so.
Alabama Ohio
Yeah,
State
it was
game.
Alabama, Ohio
Yep.
State. Alabama just. Yeah,
Boy.
because that was C.J. Stroud's like career game. C.J. Stroud went off against Clemson that game.
No, that was Justin
Or
Fields.
Justin-
Yeah,
no,
Justin
was it?
Fields. Yeah,
Was it Fields or Stroud?
Fields. Because that was 2020. Stroud wasn't their starting QB.
That's weird. I thought I could have sworn it was. I could have sworn it was.
It was Justin Fields.
Yeah, well, I mean, let's be honest, Alabama wiped before.
Yeah, but it was Justin Fields.
Huh. I thought it was Stroud.
Nah, Justin Fields had a decent game this game. I remember they had that one guy had the hit on Justin Fields and the Clemson.
You're telling me that team with Mac Jones won that game?
That's crazy.
Also, that Alabama team had Devonta Smith.
Nah, the first year that Alabama lost to Georgia, that was crazy. I knew Georgia was gonna win.
That national championship, that game was here.
I know,
The
yeah.
national
I worked the event. I worked an event for the championship like an hour before it started. I came home and I watched it.
That game was weird. That Georgia defense was one of the greatest defenses I've ever seen in a long time.
That Georgia team will definitely go down as like one of the best teams of all time.
I think the greatest college team of all time is gonna be 2019 LSU.
That team was
That
really
team was
good.
insane.
That's what you call a college football team.
Absolutely embarrassed Oklahoma, and then beat a really good Clemson team. I think that is up there as the greatest team in college football history.
That would have been a great year to come back with NCAA, bring back NCAA.
Oh yeah,
And then the cover of that is the 2019 LSU Tigers.
I'm trying to figure out how did we. Oh, I have to. This app sucks. I was trying to figure out the score because Notre Dame kept it close with Alabama for a little bit.
Oh no. Some college games, I'll be surprised with the outcome of like what teams will be losing. It'll be number one school losing the most craziest underdog school of all time. Like, do you remember the March Madness, the St. Peter's versus Purdue game, and St. Peter's won?
Yeah,
Like that was crazy.
that was this past year. FDU beat Purdue.
Yeah.
Like, it's insane. That was in Cincinnati. So I'm thinking of a different year.
Yeah.
Because Notre Dame, like 2020. I'm trying to remember what it was then. I hate how they do it because when all the games are on New Year's, so it's like the 22-23 season. Like this year's the 23-24 season. And then 1920 was LSU. 2021 was Alabama. It's weird. I don't know. I know we were in the playoffs when we shouldn't have been. And Fields had a career game. He just demolished. Let me look.
I don't know. I know that game went on in my room because I had it on, and I know they went to the playoffs because I was in Cancun when that shit happened.
Yeah, it was 31-14.
Yeah.
We played in the Rose Bowl game, but it wasn't. It was played at AT&T Stadium. It was when COVID was still happening.
Yeah. I could definitely see Washington beating Texas though, but Texas is a really good team.
Yeah, Texas. That team is. I think they're a dark horse to win the college football playoff.
Yeah.
It's just, can they beat Alabama again? Because that Alabama team has changed a lot from when they. I mean, like you see teams lose week 2 and then they come back and beat the team again.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right. Well, I think that wraps it up for our very first episode. Now, like I said, this is not permanent equipment. We're gonna keep upgrading. We're working. We're gonna record a bit of episodes because we're on break. So yeah, this was a good episode. Thank you for listening. This is Alberto and Jackson, and we'll see you in the next one.
Start.